Good morning, Britain. Alarming new figures revealing the scale of complaints about police officers' treatment of women and how they are unlikely to result in action. In the 6 months to March 2022, more than 1,500 officers and staff had cases against them, some involving allegations of sexual assault. Fewer than 1% lost their jobs.
Well, the figures raise fresh questions over trust in the police after the shocking murder of Sarah Everard by Wayne Cousins, a Met Police firearms officer, and those crimes of serial rape that emerged earlier this year by David Carrick, another Met officer.
The US, UK and Australia unveil major new plans to supply Australia with nuclear-powered submarines amid warnings from Rishi Sunak of a dangerous decade ahead.
A new campaign calling on the public to report those littering while driving. Is that fair? Should we encourage people to dob in their fellow drivers, or is it a completely rubbish idea? Let us know your thoughts. We'll debate that this morning.
And after 8 long, exciting weeks in South Africa, Kai and Saddam are crowned winners of the Winter Love Island, beating original couple Ron and Lana to pocket the £50,000 cash prize. Congratulations to them.
Neighbours, everybody needs good neighbours.
Neighbours star Stefan Dennis is live after 8 to explain why he's hoping his character in the soap's reboot will return to being Mr. Bad once again, and how the series counts the royal family as loyal fans.
A colder day ahead, a frosty start for many with some snow showers in the north. I'll have all the details of that and more coming up on Good Morning Britain.
Tuesday, 14th of March 2023, live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Susanna, Reid and Ed Balls.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. The budget is tomorrow. So this morning we are going to be discussing some really interesting themes and have people on who are basically either campaigning or requesting more money from the Chancellor tomorrow, including Tom Tugendhat in the Defence Department, of course. And we're going to be talking about childcare. Can you afford to go to work? How much is the cost of your childcare? We'll talk to someone who was in a very difficult position when they found themselves pregnant and they realised that they couldn't afford any more childcare in order to carry on working. We're also going to be talking to Sir Steve Redgrave about labour opportunities for the over 50s. He was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic when he was 35 years old. He thinks that there are health issues, obviously, that affect older workers and people in his position. So we'll talk to him about that. Also, of course, we were talking about the Oscars yesterday. Today, we're talking about the Oscars of the charity world, aren't we, Ed?
We are.
Because there's a really important film out that you are involved in.
I know. Well, I never thought I'd become a film star, but I'm not totally sure I have, actually.
Well, you probably didn't think.
No.
Back when you were a minister, and I've read your book, and I'm very moved by your story. And I don't mean to take the words out of your mouth, but I just wonder whether you might not sort of talk about it in this way. But I'm so impressed. You were diagnosed with a stammer when you were a minister.
I was.
Which meant that you had dealt with the challenges of having a stammer while you were a child, while you were a young man, all the way into politics. And I don't think it would be an understatement to say there were times when you were a politician, when you were pilloried for the way that you spoke.
Yep.
It was incredibly unfair. It was very aggressive. And you then went through, I don't know how you describe it, therapy or treatment?
Therapy is the right word.
Yeah.
I didn't think that you could have therapy if you're a politician, and certainly not admit to it. but I did while I was the Cabinet Minister. And actually, all the advice was, you have to go and talk about it publicly, because that is the thing which will make the difference. And that is true, but I don't think I believed that. And if you'd said to me when I was in the Cabinet that I could sit next to you and read the autocue and do all the things we do, I mean, I don't think I would have believed it then. And actually, what you find in life is if you kind of go for it and embrace things and also kind of are open about the challenges you face, you can do amazing things. And the film is up for an award next week at the Charity Awards, and it's called Me and My Stammer. And the film star is not me. I have a little bit part, and there's another guy has a bit part, but the main star is a lad with a stammer called Elliot. He's just 10, 11 years old, and he talks about this kind of real pain of his thing called the stammer, and the stammer is played by another film star, and he decides to talk about it and learns to love it, and I think we can show a little clip of the film, can we?
Let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Elliot. I'm 10 years old.
Hello. This is exciting, isn't it? I've never been interviewed before.
And this is my stammer.
We have great news. Okay, you tell.
I'm learning to like my stammer, and I'll be more open about it in school. So my friends and my teachers have made me feel less anxious.
Even when they call out the register?
Yeah.
It's just a 3-minute film, but it starts off with him being frustrated by it, and then he kind of learns, actually encouraged by me, to love his stammer and to be open about it and to talk about it. And in the end, he says at the end, actually, you know, it's part of who I am, and therefore just got to own it. And I think probably it took me until I was nearly 40 and in the Cabinet to get to that point, and Elliot's there when he's 10. And what we're trying to do through Action for Stammering Children is to say to children, to young people and adults all around the country, it's not something you catch, it's not something which gets cured, it's something which is part of you, but you can manage it really well, get much better at it, and owning it and being public about it is the way forward. And hopefully the film will inspire lots of parents who watch this and young people to think, actually, you know, it's OK, and to talk about it. Teachers to stop not calling kids in class or interrupting them, just give them the space to be themselves. So we'll see. I hope it wins an award.
I want to...
An Oscar.
Yes, absolutely. And good luck to the film. Looks and well done, Elliot. Incredible.
He's superb.
Yeah. And the stammer, so interesting to see it characterised as a person. But I want to ask you a question about stammers. When people stop talking because of their stammer in the middle of a sentence, there can be an instinct amongst other people that it is helpful to jump in and take over that thought because you feel like you're putting someone else out of a pain, you know, out of their misery, out of a painful situation. Why is that not the right thing to do?
Because in the end, that is what stops young people speaking and having the confidence to be themselves and to speak out. When I was Secretary of State 15 years ago, we made a film by children talking about stammers for teachers, and it was called Wait, Wait, I've Not Finished Yet. And it basically says, you know, if you jump in and you interrupt or finish the sentence or don't call the child in class in case they may stammer, it makes it much, much worse. So what you have to do is just wait. And some people stammer where they can't get the words out. Other people, like me, every now and then you have a moment where you can't get the words to come. And, you know, I will stammer all through this programme for 3 hours, but generally I don't think people notice. Maybe every now and then that they do. But, you know, I'm just given the space to say what I've got to say. And that's what you need for children and young people. Just give people the space and the time to speak and be themselves.
You're a role model for people in that situation, and I know it's very encouraging to the children and young people. And I'm sure adults who haven't been diagnosed but realise that they...
So many adults don't even talk to their partners about it throughout their life.
Incredible.
We should actually go on to the news, you know. I think there's much bigger things to talk about in the world today than...
there are equally big things to talk about. So our main news this morning is about police officers and staff. Of the more than 1,500 who have faced complaints about their treatment of women and girls, fewer than 1% have lost their jobs.
According to the National Police Chiefs Council, in the 6 months to March 22, there were hundreds of victims reporting incidents of sexual assault and harassment at the hand of the police. Our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, is outside New Scotland Yard. Richard, the data shows there were lots of complaints, but they're not actually being resolved, certainly not with action taken, does that mean that it's just not being taken seriously?